Morning everybody, welcome to our yoga for desk workers and Netflix junkies. So another way of saying a nice postural flow this morning. We won't need any equipment. If you've got bolsters, blocks, yoga stuff, straps, you're welcome to use it. If in the comfort of your own home you've got access to pillows, rolled up blankets, anything like that, if you'd like them for support, you're more than welcome, but they're not necessary. So as per usual, you're welcome to, encouraged to modify your practice as much as you'd like this morning. If you've been doing my classes for a while, you know I modify mine. I have to watch my blood pressure. So my downward facing dogs will be modified, other things I'll talk through as well. And because of that, I always encourage very strongly to modify your practice, personalize. It's your yoga, it's your practice, and we come back to listening to the body. It's being able to know when we're trying to exert too much effort, if we've got that over-striving mind of pushing ourselves into postures, trying to reach somewhere, hold something, and a good way to detect that is through the breath. So noticing how at ease we are this morning with our breath as we hold or relax into any of our postures. If we're not already, we'll make our way into Shavasana, laying on our backs, getting ourselves comfortable. All good practices start and finish with a Shavasana, I think anyway. So getting ourselves comfortable, and we might be taking any other posture that we find most restorative, whatever's comfortable for ourselves. And taking this moment to check in. It's the beginning of our practice. For some of us, it's the beginning of our day. So it might have been up out of bed for a couple of hours or less. And we just want to notice how the body is feeling this morning, how we are in our physical body, the muscles, the tissues, any tension that we're either maybe storing long term or something that just feels a little different this morning. Usually as the day goes on, we warm up these muscles. If we're practicing in the morning, just noticing anything that feels tight. See if we can bring our way into our breath, this yogic breath. Breathing deep into the belly, expanding it up to the chest. Releasing from the chest, down and out the belly. It's this deep belly breath, but it's also a rhythmic breath. Trying to keep that even pace or that even flow between our inhales and exhales. Helps us steady into our practice. And as we take our exhales, check in again with those areas where we've got that tightness and tension. See if we can just feel it dissolve out a little bit, as if those muscles are just melting into the mat. So if we are the desk workers or Netflix addicts, possibly focus through the neck and shoulders and the hips, the hamstrings. Feeling that just melt away. So we add a little wriggle to our fingers and toes. Drawing those knees to chest, curling into our ball. Checking in with this lower back, so we're taking our circles or our figure eights. And just noticing how that's feeling this morning. Any movement that feels good. And then coming back to center, lowering our feet to the mat, nice and wide or a little bit wider than hips, and taking our windscreen wipers. So just easing those knees, pointing to one side, back through center, pointing to the other. See if we can move with that breath, using those inhales to take those knees tall. Exhales as we lower them. So we're not rushing this, we're just moving in time with the breath. If that breath has crept back shallow in the chest, seeing if we can extend it, expand it, deep down to belly. And then coming back through center, we're going to lengthen our left leg nice and long, taking our right foot for our half happy baby. So it might be more comfortable to place that left foot on the floor if we're super tight through those hip flexors. Otherwise, just lengthening that left leg. We can take hold of the right foot. We can take the hand around the shin or the calf, or maybe placing it behind the knee, the hamstring, if that's more comfortable, more available. But we're just drawing this right side, this right leg. So we're leading the knee down towards the mat, but we're keeping that sole of the foot open to the ceiling. Or if we're lucky enough to be practicing outside, up to the sky. And releasing this foot or leg, we're going to keep it, so we're bending the knee, drawing it in towards the chest, coming into our twist. So we're taking this right leg across, or this right knee across, extending these right fingertips out. So we're nice and long through this right arm, or if we've got furniture, we've got to navigate, maybe bending that elbow to 90 degrees. But we're getting this opening up the vertebra, our desk worker, our Netflix hunch. Seeing if we can keep that right side of our upper body gently pressed into the mat. If it's comfortable for the neck, we're gazing over to that right side. Otherwise, we can keep it neutral. Breathe in, seeing if we can get a little bit more opening through this upper body, spreading across the collarbones. As we exhale, relaxing through the hips, so we're not pushing that hand, we're not forcing that leg down. Much more efficient to utilize gravity for that. And returning back through center, let's squeeze into our ball. Both knees in nice and tight. And lengthening our right leg nice and long this time. Coming into our half happy baby. This time that left foot opening up towards ceiling or sky. That left knee drawing down. We're getting this opening across the hips. Extending through that right leg. Resting the head and shoulders. If we're hunching up, if we're prone to that hunch already, the last thing we want to do is sort of lift our upper body to try and take hold of that leg. So take the calf or behind the hamstring. Or if we've got a strap or a pillow or a tea towel, if we want to sort of take that leg position but we can't quite reach, you can throw a tea towel or something over the foot if we've got a yoga strap as well. So as we breathe in, we're at ease. And as we breathe out, we're at ease. All right, let's release this left foot. Bending that left knee, taking that leg across the body. Extending out through that right arm this time. Option to gaze over those left fingertips. And then back through center. Tucking those knees in, this time taking our rock and roll, making our way up to seated. So letting that momentum carry us. Coming up, we'll dive straight into the hamstrings this morning. So we'll extend both these legs out nice and long, sitting tall, so stacking those vertebrae, feeling ourselves lift through the crown of the head, taking our breath in. As we reach tall, as we exhale, we'll fold forwards. We'll take a little flow to start warming up the muscles. So on our inhale, sitting back up nice and tall, extend these fingers up the sides of the body. Exhale, folding, maybe reaching a little further. One more time, let's inhale, lift. Exhale, taking that fold, letting the hands rest or take hold of whatever's available. Remember, we can bend these knees as much as we'd like. Any of that tingling sensation behind the knees, we're not getting as much into the hamstrings, so we can bend those knees and fold at the hips or hinge at the hips, and you feel that stretch move into the belly of the muscle, belly of our hamstrings here. Okay, let's release here to sit back nice and tall, feeling those vertebrae aligned, stacking up. We're going to take this left foot over the right leg. We're going to inhale this right arm up and over. We're taking this elbow over, this left leg. We're going to inhale to lift. Exhale, getting this twist. Take another breath in. Exhale back through center. We're going to take this left foot, place it on the inside of our right thigh. Just one breath this time. We'll inhale, lengthening tall. As we exhale, folding over this right leg. So we're squaring ourselves over this right leg, taking our fold. So again, we can have as much bend in that right knee as we'd like. Releasing here, ease on up, nice and tall. Lengthening out this left leg nice and long, placing that right foot across the thigh. Let's inhale, lift. Exhale, elbow across, using our next breath in, lengthening up. And exhale, just opening into our twist that little further. Seeing if we can land that gaze or rest that gaze on one still point. Softening out any tension in the face. Releasing this side. Coming back out. Ooh, almost forgot. Left side. So we're tucking that right foot into the thigh. Let's inhale, hands tall. Exhale, fold it forwards over this left leg this time. And making our way back up to seated. Sitting tall, we'll bring our legs into cross-legged. From practicing at home, I was talking to someone the other day, just starting out in yoga, they've got that tightness through the hip flexors. If it's uncomfortable to sit cross-legged, throw a pillow or something underneath your hips. It'll elevate you, make it a little bit more comfortable. While we're sitting here, we're going to inhale this left arm up and over. It's coming into our neck stretches. Stress storage area, the neck, the upper traps, the neck and shoulders, the top of our hunch. We're not trying to yank it, we're just having this gentle lengthening. If we want to, we can extend this right hand to floor, maybe fingertips or palm, seeing if we notice any extra little bit of lengthening or opening up through that right side of the neck. Let's release here, turning our gaze, tucking the chin. So moving this, lengthening down the back of the neck, this upper trap along the right side. Sitting tall for these as well. If we're introducing that hunch, see, we can take a nice deep breath in, feel it open through the chest, lengthen up the vertebra. And releasing those shoulder blades down the back of the body. Releasing this side, let's inhale, right side arm up, taking our opposite side. Option to lengthen that left leg, left arm out. This time I'm getting tongue twisted now. Gentle release. Let's turn the gaze. So we're looking past that armpit towards the floor. Tucking that chin to chest. Check in again with that extension or that lengthening up the vertebra. So we're opening through the chest and then relaxing down the back of the body. Feeling those shoulders relax away from the ears. And releasing this side. Let's walk these hands forwards, coming into our tabletop position. Hunchbacks rejoice, our cat-cow. We'll add a little bit of core today, so we're going to inhale, lengthening this left leg nice and long, engaging through the glutes, lifting through the heel. As we exhale, tucking that knee to nose, chin to chest, core engaged. As we inhale, opening back up, chest between the arms, bending this left knee. We're trying to, as if to touch the sole of the foot to the crown of the head. Exhale, tucking back under. Inhale, open. Exhale again, engaging through that core. Pressing through the arms, getting that rounding. Inhale, open. This flexion, extension along the spine. As we inhale, opening all the way along the front of the body. Exhale, focusing on initiating that contraction through those core muscles and then releasing that left knee to the mat. Inhale, this right heel nice and long. Exhale, tucking under. Press strong through the palms. Inhale, all the way open. Exhale, rounding through the spine. Keep moving. Time with the breath. I think there's about one more on each side, or on this side, sorry. And then releasing those knees to the mat. Let's take a little snake-like movement along the spine. So just moving through the hips and shoulders, this side to side, or these little S shapes through the spine, whatever feels good here. And then coming back to center, we're going to take little hip circles here. So taking a breath in at the top, on the exhale, we're taking our hips to the right, down towards the heels, maybe brushing on the inhale, coming back up to our all four, our tabletop position. Exhale, opposite direction, out to the left, down, brushing by the heels. Inhale as we come back up. So these circles can be as small or as large as we'd like. Feeling it around the sides of the hips, maybe the inner thighs or the lower back, sides of the lower back. Taking one more time, coming back to neutral. And once we make our way back here to all fours, let's tuck our toes under, coming into our downward facing dog. Bend the knees as much as we'd like here. So this class is focused on desk workers. So if we've got that hunch in the upper back, or I'll do this with straight legs. So if we're hunching in the upper back, bend the knees. It'll allow us to lift those sit bones up a little higher, lengthening through the spine. That's our focus. I'm going to lower to my knees here. Downward puppy is an alternative if we'd like to take it. If we're really tight through those hamstrings still, it's another option. We're opening the heart towards the thighs or towards the floor in our downward puppy. If we're in our down dog, maybe pedaling out here if that feels good. Spreading those fingers wide, pressing the palms flat to the mat. From whichever option we've taken, we'll start to walk those feet to the front of our mat, coming into our ragdoll, lengthening those heels towards the mat, stretching down the back of the legs as we come in, taking our ragdoll, bend those knees, taking hands to opposite elbows, our little sway side to side. Back to center, release those fingertips to the floor. Let's inhale to flatten the back. So we're coming into our half lift. Run those palms up the shin, shoulders drawn back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale again, that half lift. So the crown of the head is lengthening forward, shoulders drawn back. Exhale, fold. One more time, inhale. Exhale, fold. Pressing through the feet, let's inhale, rise tall, reach up through the fingertips. As we exhale, coming down to Tadasana, or releasing those arms down to Tadasana. Pick up the toes, spread them wide, land them back to the mat. Lengthening up through the crown of the head, we'll take a little shrug of the shoulders, releasing them down and back. And just check in with these hips. Notice if we've got that tilt to the front, seeing if we can anchor that tailbone down towards the floor, front tips of the hips drawn up towards the ribs. On our next inhale, hands rise. As we exhale, we'll fold forwards, keeping this chest open, nice and long through the upper body as we fold forwards. Let's inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Bend those knees, press through the soles as we inhale, root to rise, lengthening up through the fingertips. As we exhale, this time back bend, open through the heart. Inhale, lift. Exhale, dive it over. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands to mat, step it back to high plank. So here we're on toes or knees. Feel into that lower back. If it's causing us stress, either dipping through the hips or we're having to stick our bum up, take those knees to ground, see if we can engage through that core a little further. We'll take another breath in here at the top as we exhale, gently lowering down. Keep those elbows close. We're going to inhale to our cobra, opening up through that chest. As we exhale, releasing down to the mat. We'll take 3 of these, so 2 more. Inhale, open. Exhale, relax. One more time. Inhale, keep those shoulders relaxed. Exhale, downward dog. Tuck the toes under. Pressing strong through arms, lifting through sit bones. Pedaling out if that feels good. Anyone who'd like to join me for the downward puppy option, always more than welcome to. Taking a few breaths here. Focusing on lengthening through that spine. Lift through those sit bones. Bend the knees a little further if we're feeling that hunch. From this down dog, we'll inhale that left heel to sky, stepping through the left foot between the hands, coming into our crescent lunge. Let's inhale, hands rise. Either holding here or option to interlace these fingers behind the hips, opening through the chest, taking this little extra back bend. So we're focusing on getting this opening through the upper back this morning. Our anti-hunch, anti-desk, anti-Netflix opener, heart opener. So we're holding this lunge, seeing if we can lower through the hips. We're not dumping, we're still strong through the legs. See if we can open a little further through this right hip flexor. Releasing our bind, if we've taken it, inhale, hands back to rise, coming into our warrior two. So we're going to ground this right foot to the mat, parallel to the back of the mat, extending these arms out. Check in with that front knee. We're tracking over that front left heel. On an exhale, maybe lowering a little into the lunge, or if we're hunched up through those shoulders, maybe releasing them down a little further. On an inhale, lengthening this left leg, reaching forward through the fingertips, coming into our triangle pose. So Trikonasana, we can rest that left hand to the shin, or maybe fingertips towards the mat, lengthening up through these right fingertips. And getting this opening through that inner left thigh. Take another breath in. As we exhale, we're lowering this right hand to the mat. I'm going to close my stance a little bit here. We've got two options. We can either reverse our triangle or revolve our triangle, taking those left fingertips towards the sky, so with our straight legs, or bend through that front knee, ball of our back foot, option to revolve this way. So still getting this spinal twist, that's our focus. Option as well to support by placing that right knee to the mat as well, if that's more comfortable for us. Less weight bearing. But choosing our option. Plenty of spinal twist this morning, plenty of opening. Our anti-hunchback, or balancing the hunchback. Take another breath in. Exhale, framing the front foot. We're going to step this right foot to the the left side of our left foot. So we're taking a little wrap of the legs. If it's uncomfortable, keep them side by side. Take a breath in, lengthening. Exhale, fold. So we're getting this extra lengthening down this right side. So again, this for me is where I've got to watch my blood pressure so I don't fold all the way down, keeping that head closer to the heart. We're going to slowly uncurl our way to standing. We're going to bring that right foot back around, but we're drawing that right knee up towards the chest, taking hands to heart center. We're going to come into our tree pose. So a little balance this morning. So that right foot, I'll start, can either rest against the heel. I might actually face the camera for this one, probably more effective. So either taking that right foot to heel, to calf, or resting on that inner thigh. If it's comfortable there and you don't have any ceiling fans around you, or at least they're far enough away, you might like to extend out through the arms, perhaps branching out. So opening up through the hips. Set that gaze on one still point. This is a good one to check in with the breath. When we're taking our balances, if we are someone who's very wobbly, we'll notice that we tense to hold our balance. So we're going to relax into it. Once we're steady, notice anything that we're really holding on to. So we just melt down through that left foot. Either continuing to hold here, or we can take our hands down to heart center, sliding that right foot across the left thigh, deepening down into our 4-point pose, number 4 pose. So a little balance this morning, maybe not as related to desk work and Netflix, but those of you who've done my classes in person, you know, I rarely like to go a class without doing some balance. Falls prevention. Whichever option we've taken, we're going to stand tall, drawing that right knee in towards the chest as we exhale, coming back to our crescent lunge. So we're slowly controlled, lowering that right foot, releasing it back to the floor. Let's inhale, hands rise. I'm going to do a little pivot here. As we exhale, frame that front foot, step it back to plank. We're moving through our flow, core engaged, exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward dog. From here, inhaling that right heel to sky. Exhale, step it through, crescent lunge. Take our time. Either hands rising or interlace behind the hips. Relax the shoulders as we open through the heart. Soften through the body. And maybe deepening a little into this left hip flexor. So these hip flexors, these are ones, if we're sitting down a lot all day, they certainly tighten up. Release the bind, inhale, hands rise, coming into our warrior 2. So grounding that left foot, 90 degrees, reaching through these fingertips, checking that front knee, deepen into our lunge a little. So grounding through the outer edge of our left foot. Any of those muscles or shoulder blades at the back of the body have crept up, feeling them sink down. And then let's lengthen through this front leg, reaching through the fingertips, coming down into our triangle pose. Comfortable for the neck, we can gaze up towards the thumb tip. Or maybe it's more comfy to take a neutral position. Take another breath in. Exhale, lowering that hand. So our options again, we're going to reverse our triangle. For mine, I'm going to bring that stance in a little bit. I'm very tight through this right hamstring. So option to twist that way. Or if we'd like to, framing that front foot, bend the front knee, come into our lunge position. This is probably going to be me for today. Option to lower that left knee to the mat for support. But that might be a bit more comfortable because our focus is on that twist. It's the opening through the chest that we want. And also, like I said before, that ease of breath. If I was to hold this one and really extend up, forcing myself into that twist, we lose that breath. From whichever option we've taken. Framing that front foot. Where did we go from here? Was it back to our flow? Can't even remember now. Frame this front foot, I hope so. Stepping back to high plank. No, we did our balances. All right. It's harder without a class to tell me where I stuff up. All right, we're stepping this left foot, the outside of our right foot. A little wrap of the legs. So again, we can take them side by side. Let's inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Now you know how much I depend on my class to remind me of what I forget. So we're not trying to get that head or chest down. It's about getting that fold from the hips. So we can rest those hands to the thighs or shin. Getting that lengthening down that left hamstring. It's coming back to me now. I hope I might rewatch this video and find out that I missed a whole ton of stuff. Alright, so we're uncurling our way, stacking these vertebrae back to standing. We'll balance on this right leg as we draw this left knee towards the chest, hands to heart center, taking our tree pose. So options for that left foot to come to the heel, the calf. Bring it up on the inner thigh if it's comfy to rest there. Just mindful we're not pressing against that knee. It's a joint that doesn't like to move that way, in that direction, or have that pressure against it. So just, if we're trying to get it into the thigh but we're pushing against that knee joint, lower it down to the calf. Open through the chest, relaxing shoulders, shoulder blades. Option, if we'd like to elevate through those arms, maybe branching out to the sides. If here we feel like we're shrugging up, come into our goalpost arms, bend those elbows to 90 degrees. It'll help release a bit more tension through those upper traps. So steady gaze, steady breath, equals steady balance. Any gritting of the teeth, tensing of those facial muscles melted away. See if we can soften the body all the way down through the sole of our right foot. So we're at home, maybe we've got furniture as options for balance. We can either hold here, or if we'd like to, hands to heart center, bringing that left foot, sliding it across the thigh, coming down into our 4-point pose. It might be close to a wall, a chair, or a couch if we need to for any of these balance. Remembering we can come in and out of any of these poses at any time. Maybe voluntarily, maybe involuntarily. And slowly make our way back to standing, seeing if we can keep this balance, coming tall, standing tall. Slowly on an exhale, releasing that left foot back, coming into our crescent lunge. So again, I'll do my little pivot. Back to face front, inhale, whoop, hands rise. Exhale, frame that front foot, stepping back to plank. Take our breath in to prepare. Exhale, lower. Inhale, opening through the heart. Exhale, downward dog. Beautiful. Let's lower these knees to the mat. We'll come back to child's pose after our balance. I like to do this grounding. And using an exhale to sink as much of ourselves down to the floor as we can. So hips are relaxed to heels. Arms can be lengthened out in front of us or down by the sides of the body. And now in breath, all fours. Exhale, downward dog or any modification. We're going to inhale this left heel to the sky. As we exhale, drawing the left the left knee towards the left elbow. Little core work. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale again. So drawing that chest forwards, tucking that knee to elbow. Inhale, lengthen. This time as we exhale, we're stepping the left foot outside the left hand. So coming into our lizard lunge. Actually, we'll release that knee to the mat, or option to release the knee to the mat. And either relaxing here, we're going to ease our way down. Or this is the one I call the Netflix stretch. If it's available, we can take that left hand, thumb facing ceiling, drawing that heel towards the hips. So it's quite a deep hip flexor, hip opener, hip flexor stretch. Should be feeling along the front of that right thigh. Same as if we've taken those hands for support. If we're lying down, we're getting this opening through the hips. If we're in this position, we'd like to tuck the toes under, maybe a gentle rock forwards and backwards, getting that dynamic opening through the hips. So they're all just options that we can take. So listening to what the body is feeling like this morning. Let's release this back foot, scooting this left foot back to center. We're into center, lengthening this left leg nice and long. More hamstrings. Always good if we're sitting down a lot. So this left side hip lengthening back. Take a bend to the knee if that feels good. And our fold comes from the hip. So we're not trying to keep a straight back, but just a neutral lengthening to the spine so that we're not just hunching into it. From here, we're going to walk our hands around to the right hand side. I'll do a little shimmy facing the other side of my mat so I can face you. We're walking these hands around to the right, so our left leg is nice and long. We're coming into a little half side split. We're seeing if we can ground through that outer edge of that left foot. If it's comfy too, we can create a little extra space between the legs. We can be supported by the hands, or we can lower the forearms, just easing the hips back towards that right heel, getting this opening through that inner left thigh. Pressing back through those palms, we'll make our way into our tabletop position. So facing the front of our mat, taking our child's pose before we move through the other side of our hips. And just taking a few breaths here. Notice the volume of air that we've been taking in and out. We're going to make our way into our downward dog. We can come straight into it, or if you'd like to, if you still want to warm up the body a bit more movement, take our flow, vinyasa. We come straight into downward dog, a few extra breaths there. We're coming back to meet here. As we do, as we're comfortable, inhaling that right heel to sky. Exhale that right knee towards the right elbow. Inhale, lengthen. So working these right side obliques. Exhale, drawing forward again. One more time. Inhale, lengthen. This time stepping that right foot outside the right hand, our lizard lunge. Options to elevate, to lower that back leg. We can ease our way down through the torso. If we've got pillows, bolsters, blankets, this is a good opportunity if we're wanting to rest there. We can take that right hand behind. So we want that open shoulder position. Check in, hitchhiker's thumb towards the ceiling, outside of that back foot, heel to hip. So get stable, get comfortable, and on those exhales, anywhere that we're tensing through the hips, holding on through the hips, so we're going to ease that out. If we're taking hold of that back foot, that heel might draw in a little bit closer. If we've taken hold of the back foot, release it down. If we've taken these hands on the inside of the front foot, pressing up enough so that we can draw this right foot to center, lengthening long. Taking our fold here. And let's walk these hands around to the left. So pivoting on that left knee, we're lengthening that right leg nice and long. Again, we can create that space or draw it closer together, maybe bringing in that width between the legs. Ease our way down. Another nice time for props, blankets, pillows, bolsters, anything we'd like. And then gently coming back up. Draw this right leg in, bending through the knee, making our way into child's pose. Ease on down. And just noticing that breath enter and exit the body. Coming back to tabletop, sweeping those legs to the front of our mats, out to one side. Our boat pose, last little bit of core work, grounding the heels, reaching long through fingertips. We can elevate those feet, like that extra little challenge. Keep that heart opening, shoulders relaxing, and easing our way down to lay on our backs until the heels and the head come to rest. We'll curl into our ball, draw these knees into chest, squeeze in, A little left and right here, circles, freestyling, anything we'd like. This time coming into our full happy baby, taking hold of both feet, opening those soles to ceiling. Knees drawing down towards the floor. If we'd like to add a little gentle rock and roll here, we can. See if we've got any knots, any tightness in those muscles of the back. It's not a place that's as easily stretched as some of our other muscles. It's good to get a massage in when we can here. Releasing hold of the feet. We'll lower them down to the mat. Knees together, soles of feet together as we open the knees out. So coming into Supta Baddha Konasana, if there's anything else that we'd like to move into, this will be our final pose before Shavasana. If we take inversions as part of our regular practice, you're welcome to take those now. Anything the body needs. Whatever posture we've taken. Making our way to Shavasana. We've taken our reclined butterfly, bringing those knees in towards each other, lengthening the legs out, softening the body down into the mat, resting eyelids closed. Being as completely at ease in our body as we can. Maybe a last little scan. If there's anything we're still holding on to, any tension that we have, just dissolving that out. And enjoying these last few moments of complete rest. awareness back into the breath. Noticing inhales, noticing exhales. As we wriggle through the fingers and toes. Taking that deep, long in-breath to extend the arms up over the body, our full body stretch. Last lengthening out as we roll over to one side. And slowly making our way into a seated position. Lengthening tall through the crown. Notice how that spine's feeling. That posture, we can shrug the shoulders as we draw those hands to heart center. And checking in with the body, how we're feeling now, both mentally and physically, compared to when we first came to our mats this morning. The difference that our daily practice makes. A moment of gratefulness, gratitude at the end of our practice to ourselves for coming to our mats, for practicing this self-care. As we bow our heads to our hands, from my home to yours, Namaste. Thank you very much, everybody.